What if I told you that every single night while you are sleeping, your brain is quietly falling apart just a little bit more, and you don't even feel it happening? You wake up, you make coffee, you go about your day. But deep inside your head, tiny connections are fraying like an old rope left out in the sun. And here is the part that should stop you in your tracks. Most people over the age of 50 are unknowingly speeding up that process every evening before bed. They think they are relaxing. They think they are winding down, but they are actually pouring gasoline on a slow, silent fire. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you walked in there? Have you ever struggled to find a word that used to come so easily? Have you ever looked at a familiar face and felt that tiny split second of blankness before the name comes back? If you are in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you have probably told yourself the same thing I hear from so many people. It's just normal aging. Everyone forgets things. And yes, some memory changes are a natural part of getting older. But here is the truth that most doctors don't have time to explain in a 15-minute appointment. What you are experiencing is not just aging. It is the result of decades of tiny, repeated injuries to your brain cells, injuries that happen faster than your body can repair them. Think of your brain like a beautiful, ancient city with millions of cobblestone streets. Every time you experience stress, poor sleep, or inflammation from the foods you eat, it is like a wagon wheel rolling over those cobblestones. Over time, cracks appear, then small potholes, then entire sections start to crumble. But here is the shocking part most people never hear. Your brain actually does most of its repair work while you sleep. That is when special cells called microglia come out like a nighttime cleaning crew. They sweep away toxic proteins. They prune damaged connections. They release growth factors that help build new pathways. It is one of the most beautiful, elegant systems in all of human biology. So what is the problem? The problem is that 2/3 of adults over 50 are not giving their brain the raw materials it needs to perform that nightly repair. They are eating the wrong things before bed. They are drinking beverages that disrupt the cleanup crew. They are unknowingly sending their brain into battle every single night without armor, without weapons, without reinforcements. And that is why you wake up feeling foggy. That is why your memory feels like it is slipping through your fingers like sand. That is why you feel tired even after 8 hours of sleep. The sleep happened, but the repair did not. Now, I want you to imagine something with me for just a moment. Imagine that your brain cells are like thousands of tiny, beautiful flowering plants. Every day, those plants get exposed to wind, to heat, to little bugs that want to nibble on their leaves. That is just normal life. But here is what matters. Every single night, while you sleep, your body has a chance to water those plants, to trim the damaged leaves, to add little nutrients to the soil so they can grow back even stronger. But what if you went to bed hungry? What if you did not give your body the water or the food it needs to do that gardening work? The plants would slowly start to wither. First just 1 or 2 leaves, then entire branches, then eventually the whole plant. That is exactly what is happening inside your brain right now if you are not supporting your nighttime repair cycle. And here is where most people make a heartbreaking mistake. They feel their memory slipping, so they immediately think they need some expensive pill or a complicated supplement regimen. They go online. They spend hundreds of dollars on brain health formulas that are mostly just expensive urine makers, because the body cannot even absorb most of those artificial nutrients, or worse, and they give up entirely. They just accept that memory loss is inevitable. They tell themselves, well, I've made it this far. I guess this is just how it is now. But let me stop you right there. That is absolutely not true. And the science could not be clearer. There is a growing field of research called nutritional neuroscience, and it has made a stunning discovery over the past 10 years. The foods you eat, specifically the foods you eat before bed, can literally determine whether your brain repairs itself or continues to fall apart while you sleep. not just slow down the damage. Actually reverse some of it, actually help your brain grow new connections, actually improve your memory in ways that you can feel within just a few weeks. Now, when I first discovered this research, I was honestly skeptical. I have spent decades studying how food interacts with our blood vessels, our immune system, our ability to heal. But even I was surprised by how powerful and how simple these solutions truly are. We are not talking about exotic berries from the Amazon rainforest that cost $50 a bag. We are not talking about strange powders you have to mix into lukewarm water every morning. We are talking about 3 fruits. 3 common, delicious, affordable fruits that you probably already have in your kitchen or can buy at any grocery store tomorrow morning. And when you eat them at the right time, in the right combination, something almost magical happens inside your brain. You see, your brain has something called the glymphatic system. That is the cleaning system we talked about earlier. And this system is highly sensitive to the nutrients you provide right before sleep. Give it the wrong foods, especially sugary snacks or heavy fats, and the cleaning system gets sluggish. It is like trying to sweep your kitchen floor with a broom that has no bristles. You are moving, but nothing is actually getting clean. But give your brain the right 3 fruits before bed, and suddenly that cleaning system gets activated at full power. The broom turns into a high-powered vacuum. The toxic proteins that have been building up all day get swept away. The damaged connections get pruned so that healthy ones can grow. And here is the most exciting part of all. Some of these fruits contain natural compounds that actually stimulate the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF for short. Think of BDNF as miracle grow for your brain cells. It helps existing neurons stay strong and healthy, and it encourages the growth of new neurons, even in older brains. So here is what I want you to do right now. I want you to pause for just a moment and really feel what it would be like to wake up tomorrow morning with a clearer head. Imagine opening your eyes and not feeling that heavy fog. Imagine remembering where you put your keys without having to search the whole house. Imagine having a conversation and finding every word effortlessly, like you did when you were 30 years old. That is not a fantasy. That is not some anti-aging gimmick. That is your brain waiting ready, just needing the right fuel at the right time. And in just a moment, I am going to show you exactly which 3 fruits can make that happen. But before we get into the specifics, I need you to understand why these fruits work so powerfully. Because once you understand the mechanism, once you see the science with your own eyes, you will never look at your evening snack the same way again. You will understand exactly why your brain has been struggling, and exactly how to fix it starting tonight. You see, most people believe that sleep is just a time when the body shuts down, like somebody flipping a switch and turning off the lights. But nothing could be further from the truth. Sleep is actually the most active time for your brain's repair cruise. Imagine a bustling city at 3 a.m. The streets are quiet. The office buildings are dark. But underneath the surface, the subway tunnels are being inspected. The water pipes are being replaced. The electrical wires are being rewired. That is your brain during sleep, working harder than it ever works during the day. Now here is where the science gets really interesting and a little bit frightening, if I am being honest with you. Inside your brain, you have over 86 billion neurons. That is 86 billion tiny little information processors, each one connected to thousands of others. Creating a network so complex that scientists still do not fully understand how it works. But every single day, some of those neurons get damaged. A little inflammation here, a little oxidative stress there, a little wear and tear on the connections. It is like driving your car to work every day. Eventually, you need an oil change, you need new tires, you need a tune-up, and here is the part that keeps me up at night. Your brain's natural repair system, that beautiful cleaning crew we mentioned earlier, relies entirely on a steady supply of specific nutrients to do its job. Without those nutrients, The crew shows up for work, but they have no mops, no buckets, no cleaning solution. They just wander around, tired and frustrated, while the toxic buildup continues to grow. Let me tell you about a study that changed my entire understanding of brain health. Researchers at the University of Rochester Medical Center discovered something remarkable a few years ago. They found that during deep sleep, your brain actually shrinks by about 60%. No, not permanently. It is like a gentle deflation. And that shrinkage creates space between your brain cells. Then, like a gentle river, cerebrospinal fluid flows through those spaces and washes away toxic proteins that have built up during the day. One of those toxic proteins is called beta amyloid, the same protein that forms the sticky plaques associated with memory decline. Now here is the question that should grab your attention. What happens when your brain does not have the nutrients it needs to regulate that fluid flow? What happens when the blood vessels that surround your brain become weak or inflamed because of the foods you have been eating? The answer is heartbreakingly simple. The river stops flowing. The toxic proteins stay stuck, and over months and years, those proteins build up like litter on a highway that never gets cleaned. And this is a huge, but scientists have also discovered that certain natural compounds found in fruits can dramatically improve this cleaning process. They can strengthen the blood vessels. They can reduce inflammation. They can even help your brain produce more of its own natural cleaning fluids. And the best part, these compounds are not rare. They are not expensive. They are sitting right there in your local grocery store, waiting for you to bring them home. Now let me bust a myth that is causing millions of people to struggle with their memory for no good reason. I hear this all the time. People say, I eat healthy. I have a salad for lunch. I take my vitamins. What more could I possibly need? And I understand why you would think that. We have been told for decades that a healthy diet is enough. But here is the truth that nobody tells you. The timing of your nutrients matters just as much as the nutrients themselves. You can eat the healthiest foods on the planet all day long. But if you go to bed with an empty stomach, or even worse, if you eat the wrong foods right before sleep, you're essentially locking the door on your brain's repair crew. Think about it this way. Your body runs on a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour internal clock that tells every organ when to work and when to rest. And your digestive system is highly sensitive to that clock. When you eat late at night, especially heavy meals or sugary snacks, your body has to choose between digesting food and repairing your brain. It cannot do both well at the same time. It is like asking a single firefighter to put out two fires at once. Something is going to get neglected, and unfortunately, and in most people's bodies, the brain is the one that loses that battle. So what should you eat instead? What are these magical 3 fruits that can change everything? I am going to tell you. But first, I need you to understand why each one works. Because if you just hear a list without understanding the science, you will probably forget it. And we do not want that, do we? Let us start with the first fruit, and this one might surprise you. It is not an exotic superfruit. It is not some berry that only grows on a single mountain in a remote country. It is one of the most common fruits in the world, and yet most people over 50 are not eating it, especially not before bed. This fruit contains a powerful compound called ellagic acid. Now, ellagic acid has been studied extensively for its ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. That is the protective shield that surrounds your brain and keeps out harmful substances. Not every nutrient can cross that barrier, but ellagic acid can. And once it gets inside, it goes to work reducing something called neuroinflammation. Let me explain why that matters. Neuroinflammation is a fancy term for swelling inside your brain. And just like swelling in your ankle or your knee, brain swelling causes pain and dysfunction, but you cannot feel it the same way. Instead, you feel it as brain fog, as fatigue, as memory struggles, as that frustrating sense that your thinking is just a little bit slower than it used to be. The ellagic acid in this first fruit acts like a natural fire extinguisher, putting out those tiny fires of inflammation that are damaging your neurons day after day. Now, the second fruit works in an entirely different but equally powerful way. This fruit is rich in natural melatonin, but not the kind you buy in a pill. It is a special form of melatonin that is bound to other plant compounds that help your body use it more effectively. And here is what most people do not understand about melatonin. It does not just help you fall asleep. Melatonin is actually one of your brain's most powerful antioxidants. It sweeps up free radicals, those unstable molecules that damage your brain cells like tiny little wrecking balls. And when you get melatonin from whole fruit instead of a supplement, you also get hundreds of other supportive compounds that work together in a beautiful symphony of healing. But wait, there is more. The third fruit, and this one might be the most important of all, this fruit contains a unique type of fiber that feeds your gut bacteria. And why does that matter for your brain? Because your gut and your brain are connected by something called the vagus nerve, a direct information highway that runs from your digestive system all the way up to your skull. When your gut bacteria are happy and healthy, they send signals to your brain that promote calm, reduce inflammation, and improve memory formation. When your gut bacteria are starving, they send distress signals that do the exact opposite. So think about what happens when you eat these three fruits together before bed. The first fruit reduces inflammation. The second fruit provides powerful antioxidant protection. The third fruit feeds your gut bacteria so they can send healing signals to your brain all night long. It is not just one mechanism. It is not just two. It is three separate, powerful, scientifically proven pathways all working together to repair your brain while you sleep. Now, I can already hear what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, Dr. Lai, this sounds wonderful, but can it really work for someone my age? I am 72. I have been struggling with my memory for years. Is it too late for me? And I want you to listen to me very carefully. This is the most important thing I will say in this entire presentation. It is never too late. Never. The human brain possesses an extraordinary ability called neuroplasticity. That means your brain can grow new connections, strengthen existing ones, and even create new neurons at any age. I have seen studies where people in their 80s and 90s improve their memory significantly just by changing what they ate before bed. The brain wants to heal. It wants to repair itself. It wants to give you back the clarity you have been missing, but it cannot do that without the right fuel. So now you know the science, you know about the glymphatic system, you know about neuroinflammation, you know about the gut-brain connection, and you know that three simple fruits eaten at the right time can transform your brain's nighttime repair work from a failed mission into a stunning success. Now it is time to name names, time to stop talking around these three fruits and finally put them in the spotlight where they belong. Because I have to tell you, after 30 years of studying how food interacts with the human body, nothing excited me more than discovering how these three everyday fruits work together to heal the aging brain. And I am not exaggerating when I say that this combination, eaten at the right time, is one of the most powerful, natural, accessible brain repair protocols I have ever seen. So let me just say it. The first fruit is cherries, tart cherries, to be precise, not the bright red maraschino cherries that come in a jar, although those are delicious on ice cream. I am talking about the dark red tart cherries that make your mouth pucker just a little bit when you bite into them. And before you think to yourself, oh, cherries, that is too simple, let me stop you right there. Because what is happening inside those tiny red fruits is nothing short of pharmaceutical grade chemistry, but created by nature instead of a laboratory. Let me walk you through the science. Tart cherries contain one of the highest natural concentrations of melatonin of any food on the planet. But here is where most people get confused. They think melatonin is just a sleep hormone. And yes, it helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle, but that is like saying a Swiss Army knife is just a bottle opener. You are missing 90% of the story. Melatonin is also one of the most powerful antioxidants your brain has ever encountered. It does something that few other antioxidants can do. It crosses the blood-brain barrier easily. And once it is inside your brain, it goes to work neutralizing free radicals that are actively damaging your neurons. Now, think about what that means for your memory. Every single day, your brain produces waste products from normal activity. It is like the exhaust from a car engine. Some of those waste products, especially something called hydrogen peroxide, can burn tiny holes in your brain cells if they are not neutralized. Melatonin sweeps in like a firefighter and neutralizes that hydrogen peroxide before it can do damage. And when you eat tart cherries before bed, you are flooding your brain with this protective compound right when it is doing its most intense repair work. The timing is everything, but wait, there is more. Tart cherries also contain high levels of anthocyanins. That is the pigment that gives them their beautiful dark red color. And anthocyanins have been shown in multiple studies to reduce neuroinflammation by blocking something called the NF-kappa B pathway. I know that sounds like complicated science, so let me simplify it. Think of NF-kappa B as an alarm system in your brain. When something goes wrong, that alarm goes off and triggers inflammation. A little inflammation is good. It helps your brain heal. But chronic inflammation, the kind that happens when you eat processed foods or sugary snacks before bed, is like having that alarm blaring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Eventually, you cannot think, you cannot focus, you cannot remember. The anthocyanins in tart cherries turn down that alarm. They tell your brain it is okay. You can relax, you can heal. Now let me tell you about the second fruit, and this one might surprise you even more. It is kiwi fruit. Yes, that fuzzy brown fruit with the bright green inside that most people walk right past in the grocery store. I cannot tell you how many patients have looked at me with skepticism when I first recommended kiwi before bed, and then they come back a month later and say, "Dr. Lee, I cannot believe the difference. I am sleeping deeper, I am waking up clearer, and my memory, it is like somebody turned the lights back on." So what is happening inside that little green fruit? Kiwi fruit contains a unique enzyme called actinidin. And actinidin does something extraordinary for your brain, but not directly. It works through your gut. You see, one of the biggest problems facing older adults is that their digestion slows down. Food sits in their stomach longer. It ferments. It creates gas and bloating. But more importantly for your brain, that slow digestion means the nutrients from your food are not being absorbed efficiently. You could eat the healthiest diet in the world, but if your body cannot absorb those nutrients, your brain never sees them. Actinidin helps break down proteins in your digestive system, making all the other nutrients in your meal more bioavailable. It is like having a master key that unlocks every door in your digestive tract, but that is not even the best part about kiwi fruit. Kiwi fruit is also one of the richest natural sources of vitamin C. And before you roll your eyes and say, vitamin C, I already take that, let me tell you something that might surprise you. The vitamin C in kiwi fruit is bound to a complex matrix of plant compounds that make it up to 5 times more absorbable than the synthetic vitamin C in most supplements. And your brain needs massive amounts of vitamin C to produce neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that allow your brain cells to talk to each other. Without enough vitamin C, that conversation gets slow, garbled, confused. That is why you struggle to find words. That is why you forget what you were about to say. That is why your thinking feels sluggish. Your brain's messengers are not being built properly. And here is the kicker. Your body cannot make vitamin C on its own. You have to get it from food. And most people over 50 are not getting nearly enough, especially if they have cut back on fruits because they are worried about sugar. But here is what I want you to understand. The sugar in whole fruit is not the same as the sugar in a cookie or a soda. Whole fruit comes packaged with fiber, with antioxidants, with enzymes that actually help your body process that sugar slowly and safely. A single kiwi fruit has about 6 grams of sugar, but it also has 2 grams of fiber and 100% of your daily vitamin C. That is a trade I will make every single time. Now, the third fruit. And if you have been paying attention, you might have guessed this one. It is berries, but not just any berries. Blueberries, specifically. And the reason is a compound called pterostilbene. Have you heard of resveratrol? That compound in red wine that everyone got so excited about a few years ago. Pterostilbene is like resveratrol's smarter, more powerful cousin. And it is found in highest concentrations in blueberries. Here is what pterostilbene does inside your brain. It activates something called the AMPK pathway. Again, let me translate that into plain English. AMPK is your brain's master energy sensor. When AMPK is activated, it tells your brain cells to become more efficient. It helps them clean out damaged proteins. It encourages them to build new connections. It even helps them produce more mitochondria, those tiny power plants inside every cell that generate energy. And when you have more mitochondria, your brain cells have more energy to do their jobs, to form memories, to retrieve information, to keep you sharp and focused. But blueberries do not stop there. They also contain high levels of flavonoids called flavanols, and these flavanols have been shown in human clinical trials to improve communication between brain cells. Researchers at the University of Cincinnati conducted a study where they gave older adults with early memory concerns either blueberry powder or a placebo every day for 4 months. At the end of the study, the people who took the blueberries showed significant improvements in learning and memory tests. Their brains on functional MRI scans looked more like the brains of people 10 to 15 years younger. Let that sink in for a moment. A fruit made their brains look younger on a medical scan. And now, here is where the magic really happens. When you combine these 3 fruits, cherries, kiwi fruit, and blueberries, you are not just getting 3 separate benefits. You are getting synergy. That means 1 + 1 + 1 equals 10. The melatonin from the cherries prepares your brain for deep, restorative sleep. The actinidin and vitamin C from the kiwi fruit ensure that every nutrient is absorbed perfectly. And the pterostilbene and flavanols from the blueberries activate your brain's repair and growth pathways. Think of it like a construction crew that shows up to repair a damaged building. The cherries are the foreman who creates the perfect conditions for work. The kiwi fruit are the workers who bring all the tools and materials to the right place. And the blueberries are the architects who tell everyone exactly what to build and how to build it. Without any one of these 3, the project fails, the building stays damaged, the memory stays foggy. But when all 3 work together, the repairs happen quickly, efficiently, beautifully. Now I want to address a concern I hear constantly from people in their 60s and 70s. Dr. Lee, these fruits have sugar. I am watching my blood sugar. I am worried about diabetes, and I completely understand that concern, but here is what the science actually says. The fiber in whole fruit dramatically slows down sugar absorption. In fact, studies have shown that eating whole fruit, especially berries and cherries, is associated with a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Not higher, lower. Because the compounds in these fruits actually improve your body's sensitivity to insulin. They help your cells respond better to sugar, not worse. But wait, there is one more piece of this puzzle that I have not shared yet, and this might be the most important piece of all. Because eating these 3 fruits before bed is powerful on its own. But when you combine them with one simple habit, a habit that takes less than 60 seconds, the benefits multiply dramatically. I am talking about timing, and not just the timing of when you eat the fruit, the timing of when you stop eating everything else. You see, your brain needs a window of digestive rest to do its best repair work. If you are snacking right up until the moment you close your eyes, your body is still digesting when it should be repairing. So here is the simple rule. Finish eating your 3 fruits at least 90 minutes before you go to sleep. That gives your digestive system enough time to process the fruit and send all those beautiful nutrients to your brain before the repair crew clocks in for the night. So now you know the 3 fruits. You know the science behind each one. You know how they work together to reduce inflammation, provide antioxidants, and feed your gut and activate your brain's repair pathways. You know that cherries, kiwi fruit, and blueberries are not just delicious snacks. They are medicine. They are tools. They are your brain's best friends. But here is the question that I know is on your mind right now. Exactly how much should you eat? Should you eat them whole or blended? Should you eat them fresh or frozen? And what about the other foods you should absolutely avoid before bed? The ones that are secretly sabotaging your memory even as you sleep.